Because a nigga pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you sit there and you go, oh, I'm not going because this. I think I can take him.
So be throwing rocks and hiding their hand, right? They be throwing rocks and hiding their hand, and I don't like them kind of individuals. Insinuate, be extorting people. Ain't no money in that. Real nigga ain't gonna have that no way. You know, check in for what? I mean, I don't want to impose a
50 Cent, this huge global name, setting up shop.
Yeah, planting his flag, so to speak.
Right, in the city that Jay Prince has, been synonymous with for decades.
Exactly. It sets up this dynamic, this potential clash, almost like a power struggle for the city's pulse.
And 50's move, it wasn't quiet, was it? He made a point of announcing it?
No, not at all. Very public. He went on social media, talked about why he was leaving New York.
The taxes, right. That was the main thing he mentioned.
That was the public reason, yeah. Tired of New York taxes hitting his businesses. Makes sense from a financial standpoint.
Totally. He was like, love New York, but Houston's the move now. But really, it felt like, okay, this is about the money, about the empire.
Well, it's smart business. Houston offers a different landscape, fiscally and culturally.
Definitely. And Houston's huge for music, for entertainment. He saw an opening, didn't he?
It seems that way. It wasn't just about moving house. It was about tapping into that Houston energy, making deals.
Yeah, I heard he was personally making sure his liquor brand was getting visibility in local spots, real groundwork.
Building from the ground up in a new territory. But, that territory already had a very established figure.
Jay Prince. Decades of influence. You gotta assume 50 showing up felt like a challenge?
That's the perception? Certainly. Like someone just walking into your domain and starting to rearrange things, it's bound to create friction.
So how did Jay Prince reportedly react to the word as he tried this check-in thing?
Yeah, the alleged check-in system.
What even is that exactly, for people who don't know?
Well, the way it's described, it's like an unwritten rule in some circles. New artists, maybe big names coming into the territory, are sort of expected to contribute financially.
Contribute.
Or pay up.
Let's just say the line can seem blurry. Ostensibly, it's for, smooth operations, maybe protection.
A lot of people hear extortion. That's definitely how it's perceived by many, yeah. And the implication is if you don't comply, things might not go so smoothly. Bad stuff could happen.
And 50's response, knowing him.
Predictably, he wasn't having it, not even a little bit.
Right.
The story is he basically said, I have my own security, I'm not paying anyone. Dismissed it completely. Called it something for suckers, apparently.
Wow. Okay, so immediate pushback. That sets a tone.
A very clear tone. He wasn't going to play by those alleged old rules. He operates differently.
Can you give an example of how this check-in thing supposedly plays out? Like, what happens if someone says no?
Well, look at the reported incident with NBA YoungBoy. That's often brought up.
What happened there?
He was in Houston working. Apparently didn't do the check-in.
Yeah.
And then boom, his place gets burglarized.
Seriously, what'd they take?
Jewelry, cash, but also keys to his Rolls Royce, his McLaren. Really specific high-value stuff.
Oh, okay, that's bold. Then what?
Then someone supposedly reaches out demanding money, like $30,000 to get his stuff back.
So basically a ransom for his own property after a burglary.
That's how it looks, yeah. It fits the pattern people describe.
But then it got weirder, right? With Jay Prince.
Yeah, then Jay Prince suddenly pops up on social media. He tags YoungBoy. He says, hey, look what I recovered for you.
What did he claim to have?
The Rolls keys, the McLaren keys, even Rolls Royce umbrellas. Specific items. Like he'd solved the case.
Trying to look like the helpful figure, the fixer.
That's one interpretation, yeah. A very public display of recovery, maybe asserting influence, maybe managing perception.
How did YoungBoy take it?
He was not happy at all. Went right online.
What do you say?
Basically accused Jay Prince of pulling a publicity stunt. Said if he really wanted to help, he'd have done it privately, not blasted it on socials.
Ouch. Called him out directly.
Pretty much. Said he wasn't looking for new friends or that kind of relationship. A clear rejection of whatever Jay Prince was trying to project.
And it's not just YoungBoy feeling some type of way, is it? I heard Cameron and Mace weighed in.
Oh yeah, they went in on their show. Said Jay Prince is too old for these street games.
Really? What else?
They just weren't feeling the whole big homie thing. Mace was especially blunt, said something like he's never respected niggas in the streets. They really didn't hold back.
So other industry figures are kind of questioning this whole structure too.
It seems like there's a growing skepticism, especially from artists who've reached a certain level themselves. They don't necessarily feel they need that kind of oversight.
Okay, what about these dice games? I keep hearing whispers about dice games hosted by Jay Prince and his sons.
Right, the alleged dice game.
Are they just adult games? Or is there more to it?
Well, the talk is that they might be more than just casual gambling. Some suggest there another way pressure can be applied, maybe to visiting artists.
How so? Like encouraging big bets they can't afford to lose?
Potentially. Or maybe the atmosphere itself, the power dynamics in the room.
Yeah.
It could be a way to, let's say, encourage financial contributions indirectly. Less overt than the check-in, perhaps.
And then tragically, Takeoff's death happened at one of these events in Houston.
Yes, Takeoff was killed at a private party where a dice game was reportedly happening. A terrible tragedy.
And the rumors around that, they connect back to this whole check-in narrative, don't they?
There have been persistent rumors, and more recently, talk of alleged new information.
That's the alleged info.
The suggestion is that Jay Prince was supposedly upset that Takeoff and Quavo hadn't checked in properly when they arrived.
Oh, wow.
And the story, the rumor at least, is that maybe the intention wasn't fatal. Maybe it was just supposed to be a message, some intimidation, like roughing them up.
But it went horribly wrong.
Tragically wrong, if that rumor holds any water at all. It casts a really dark shadow.
Has Jay Prince addressed these specific rumors? How does he respond?
When asked about the situation, his responses have been seen as, well, a bit vague or nervous by some.
Like what?
He'll talk about his family's track record of hospitality, being welcoming, but then he tends to shift the focus, maybe blaming the presence of weapons at the event.
Not really a direct denial of the check-in motive rumor, though?
Not directly addressing that specific allegation, no.
Yeah.
Which, for some people, just fuels the speculation more.
And there was another incident tied to these games, wasn't there? Duke the Jeweler.
Yes, that's another name that comes up. Duke the Jeweler.
What happened to him?
The reports are that he won a significant amount of money, maybe around $100,000 at one of these alleged games.
Okay.
And then, very shortly after, he was robbed and tragically murdered.
Jesus. After winning big at one of those games.
That's the reported sequence of events. It adds another really disturbing layer to the whole narrative around these gatherings and the alleged environment.
Okay, so that's one side of the Houston picture. Let's switch gears. What has 50 Cent actually been doing since he arrived?
It's a completely different story. Really stark contrast.
How so?
He's been very visible, but in community work, through his G-Unit Foundation.
Doing what specifically?
He launched something called the G-Unity Business Lab. It's for high school kids, teaching them entrepreneurship skills, investing in the youth there.
Okay, that's pretty positive. Building goodwill.
Exactly. And it's not just talk. He's putting money behind major initiatives.
Like the business deals. I heard he locked down deals with the sports teams.
Yeah, huge deals for his Sire Spirits brand. That's his cognac and champagne. He's got partnerships with the Houston Rockets, the Astros, the Texans, all the big local teams.
Embedding himself in the city's fabric, big time.
And then there's the direct charity stuff. He threw a massive comedy and music festival.
I remember that.
He did a huge turkey giveaway for Thanksgiving. And for Christmas, get this, he donated toys worth something like $850,000.
Wow, nearly $1 million in toys.
Yeah, huge amount. And recently helped raise $500,000 for the Houston Children's Charity.
So he's making major philanthropic plays, not just business moves.
It definitely seems that way, and
Right.
investing significantly in the community, making very public contributions.
How has the city itself, like the official city, reacted to 50?
Very positively, it seems. They actually gave him the key to the city.
No way! The key to Houston.
Yep. And Mayor Sylvester Turner declared an official 50 Cent Day in Houston.
That's huge validation. What did the mayor say?
He praised 50's influence, his business acumen, but specifically highlighted the philanthropic work, especially the program for high school students. A really strong endorsement.
So 50's getting awards and accolades from the city leadership, while Jay Prince is dealing with all these negative allegations.
It's a very different public image being cultivated, absolutely.
You have to imagine Jay Prince isn't thrilled about 50 getting all this positive spotlight.
Well, the word is exactly that. Reports suggest he's not happy about being potentially overshadowed.
And trying to push back.
There are rumors and reports that he's been trying to, let's say, hinder 50's progress, maybe undermine some of his ventures in the city.
Because the power balance feels like it's shifting.
That seems to be the underlying tension, yes. A feeling that the old guard's influence is being challenged by this very popular, very wealthy newcomer who's playing a different game.
And then there's this other wrinkle, right? The Big Meech situation.
Ah, yes. That adds another layer. 50 Cent has ongoing issues, public disputes with Big Meech.
And Jay Prince's connection.
Jay Prince has historically been aligned with or supportive of Big Meech.
So he took Meech's side against 50.
Reportedly, yes. There was talk that Jay Prince even sent a message to 50, basically telling him to back off Big Meech.
Trying to assert authority even in that separate conflict? How did 50 react to that?
50, he doesn't really do backing off.
No, it doesn't seem like his style.
Instead, the talk is he's kind of doubled down. And he's allegedly making efforts now to expose what he sees as Jay Prince's questionable activities, particularly the check-in stuff.
So he's actively trying to bring it all into the light now.
That's the reported countermove. Defiance and exposure. This whole thing feels like it's escalating, not calming down.
It really does. So you've got these two just titans in their own right. One representing the old school Houston power structure, the other this global multimedia force landing and doing things his own way.
Engaged in what really looks like a serious power struggle for influence right there in Houston.
The stakes feel incredibly high. It makes you wonder, listening to all this, who do you think actually has the upper hand right now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? 50 has the momentum, the public goodwill from the city, the massive platform.
But Jay Prince has the history, the deep roots, potentially the street-level influence that's harder to quantify.
Exactly. It's a fascinating contrast. And you have to wonder what happens next. Will things boil over? Will one force the other out? Or find some way to coexist?
Yeah, what's the next chapter in this Houston saga going to look like?
It really makes you think about what power means in today's world, doesn't it? Is it the established reputation and local control? Or is it the massive public profile, the philanthropy, the official city backing? How do those things truly weigh against each other when things get tense? It's something to watch.